here from Santini Plaza. We have the Book Nook owner, Annette.
Nook. Did you say Brooke?
No, I think I said Book. So you guys are going to get nice and close to the microphones. Those are clean. We clean them after everyone slobbers all over them. We clean them up nicely. And Annette owns the Book Nook in Santini Plaza.
Yes.
And Claire is an author. She's got 2 kids' books. But first, Annette, let's start with you.
So tell us a little bit about the Book Nook. Like, how long has it been in existence? How long have you been the owner?
Well, I've owned it for 11 years.
Wow.
This year in August will be my 12th. But the bookstore itself has been in the plaza for over 35 years.
Wow. And how many books do you have in there?
Well, we always say over 10,000. I don't count them individually.
How long would that take?
I tried it 1 year. I gave up.
Want to make
when
sure.
I first started.
Oh, there we go. We gotta put your
Oh,
mic
come
there.
on.
I thought your one job is to turn the microphones
Is hers on too?
Everybody's good.
Is mine on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you're loud and clear.
What is your background that drove you or got you to own a bookstore?
No background. I'm just loved reading since I was a little kid. I would read a book a day on the average growing up as a teenager.
I can't even do that.
Wow.
And I happened to, because I love books, I would frequent that bookstore because I used to own the laundromat that's in what was in the same plaza. So Phyllis, the previous owner, would just let me come over, and it was like my personal library. She just let me grab
Very
a book
nice.
to read. And then when I sold the bookstore, the laundromat, I started helping her out. You know, she would want to go on vacation with her husband. They ran it together. So I'd go in there, help out. And then one thing led to another. And then when she passed, I was able to take over.
So, Annette, when you owned the laundromat, was it 4 quarters for a wash and 4 quarters for a dryer, or 6 quarters for a wash, or 6? How did that work?
And actually, I was there for 8 years, and the price went up.
Really?
Yeah.
So what? It started out as a quarter, and then what? That was too
Not
cheap.
that long.
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
Were they still using stones and rubbing their clothes on the
Were
stone?
you washing the people's clothes for them and delivering them in plastic bags like the Jetsons?
Oh, yeah.
No, really.
I used to. Excuse me. I used to do people's laundry. What's funny, when the shrimp boats used to come in, we would get their stuff.
Ooh.
We had these big commercial washing machines. We just throw it all in.
How nasty did those things smell?
Those things were pretty nasty.
Gosh.
But the guys would come off. They'd have all their stuff cleaned, and they could do whatever they wanted to do.
Now, what's in the place where the laundromat was now?
It is now a realty office.
Okay. So really, how much did the wash and dry cost when you exited the business? You remember?
It was $1.50 in the washing machine, and it would usually cost about $1 to dry.
Did you guys sell like detergent too, and Clorox and all that?
Germane to the?
I don't know. I don't know. I think would a laundromat work these days?
Yeah,
I think it would.
Yeah,
it would.
And you could pay by PayPal. You could probably pay by credit card.
They actually there are some that have their machines. You have to buy a card or load a card, and the card actually runs the machines.
But there are still coin operated. I use a coin operated laundromat when I have to do something large, like a comforter.
Yes,
exactly.
So
something heavy duty.
I can't remember the last time I've even seen a laundromat.
You know what? We lived in Elmira. We used to go there all the time.
Yeah.
So anyways,
let's not get there. Let's not get stuck on the laundromat thing.
We did.
The big question that I have, Annette, is the book business has really changed over the years. I mean,
it has.
I used to I read 3 or 4 books a month. I can't read like you can read. That's like speed reading. But and I used to have to buy them. I love to go to Barnes and Noble or one of the big bookstores and buy a book and read it. But now everything's on the Kindle and it's instant. And so how difficult is it to fight that?
Well, being the area we're in, not so much.
Cool.
People don't want to bring their Kindle or to the beach. The sand, and who wants to put it down and go in the water? Somebody walk off with it.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
And just the fact that it'll get covered in sand and get ruined.
Yeah.
So that way, the Kindle and stuff is good for traveling.
Right.
Like when you're on a plane, you can load it up. But a real book person still
wants
wants
to read
the
a book.
feel
I hear
of
you.
that book in
Yeah.
their hand.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, who's the most popular author right now that you sell the most books of?
James Patterson.
Of course. I don't know how many. I must have. I don't know. I'm reading every single series of his books. I just read The Russian from James Patterson.
Okay, the new one.
Yeah.
Wow, you're up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then what I like about he's a genius to be able to pound out as many books as he can is incredible. He's writing books now with Bill Clinton and all fiction books, of course. And the thing with him is that he writes with other authors, and so he elevates them to a level where you have to research their books too, because he makes them almost as good as he is because he puts his name on their books.
Right. Andrew Gross was one of the first authors that he co-wrote with.
Yeah.
And now Andrew Gross has got his own line of books that people love.
Yeah.
So.
Do you still sell a lot of Vince Flynn books?
Which ones?
Vince Flynn.
Oh, yeah. Even though he's passed and Kyle Mills has taken over the character, people are still enjoying the character.
I can't read them anymore since he passed away. I don't think it has the same
You're
thing.
A purist.
But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the books are as strong as they were when he was alive. And
can I ask a question?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So, do you have new and used books there?
Yes, new and used,
and you sell both,
right?
And you have book signings.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Because you have authors that come into the store and
do
book signings.
Either some of them are local and sometimes they are on vacation. They'll call up before they're coming down and ask if they can sell their book. And we do book signing. Claire here happens to be local. She's from Hickory Island.
Yep.
And you wrote, what did you write?
Well,
we're so lucky to have today.
2 kids' books, right?
Yeah, that I have.
Wait until the Pod Fairy sees this, dear.
I know.
I'm sure you guys are all in the same circles. Oh,
because I just talked to her yesterday because she wrote a book. She's
now, boys and girls, I'm going to read you a story about the
and
Henry the
she
Manatee.
Has a bunch of dolphins that are near her area, and she wrote at least one book about Clarence.
Dear, you might be able to bang this one out in a day.
I know. Well, let's talk about those and then we'll see. So you have one called Salty the Sea Turtle, which I love. It's cute, but I have an affinity for the manatee. So
they're pretty amazing.
Is it Henry? Yes.
Henry
the Manatee. So what got you interested in writing children's books?
Wow. I've been writing a long time. Much like Annette, I love to read. Avid reader, have been since I was little. And I just was inspired. Actually, this book, I was on the beach with the illustrator, who was also a dear friend of mine. We had the opportunity to witness an excavation of the nest.
Very cool.
So moved by that.
Yes.
So I felt the need to share that experience. And then also where I live, we have the manatee coming. And that was something else that inspired me, just witnessing the pod and the babies with the mothers. They're beautiful, amazing creatures. So both books really were written through inspiration.
Have you ever thought about writing about sea turtles?
That's what this one is.
I'm sorry. Never mind. I was thinking about something else. Forget what I said.
Okay. And wow.
I was thinking about something else.
The 2 books.
Yes.
What are they? What is the message in the 2 books?
Well, both books primarily are about the creature themselves and the need to just be able to kind of take care of our wildlife. The message really is, these are beautiful. We need to learn about them. We need to appreciate them. We need to respect them. And we do have in the back of each book a fact page. Okay. So it does engage the reader in additional questions that they might have about both of our beautiful creatures. And I just think that nature in general, it's important to learn about nature and respect wildlife. And I think that with that being said, perhaps, that will continue to preserve our beautiful manatee and sea turtle, which we really greatly need to do.
How long did it take you to hammer these out?
It's a process. It starts with the inspiration, and then especially when you're doing something that's rhyming and also wanting to share the message within the book, it can get a little bit complicated in the beginning. So you're sort of writing, rewriting, rethinking. And then finally it comes together, and then of course the beautiful illustrations to complement it.
Do you find yourself sitting in a room by yourself and saying and throwing the pencil against the wall because you get manatee writer's cramp or sea turtle writer's cramp?
I actually do. And at times I get up in the middle of the night when a thought comes into my head and I feel like I need to jot it down and then sort of add to the thoughts that I've had maybe earlier that day or the day before. It is definitely a process.
Yeah. When I get up in the middle of the night, I don't write. How do you get in that mode where you can write a book if you get up in the middle of the night? What's the secret?
I think I'm always in that sort of creativity mode.
How many books?
I truly am.
So these are on sale at the bookstore.
They are.
Anywhere, Amazon? I don't mean to bring that up.
Actually, they are available at Amazon.
Yeah.
Also Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
They are now in Kindle form, as we were discussing earlier. Yeah. We have several vendors, much like Annette, who carry them. And then we actually do have larger book suppliers like Ingram and the Wildlife Trading Company that actually pull from our publisher, and the books are actually out there.
Nice.
Yes, I think the thing too, though, the thing with children's books is you really do. They're not. I don't want to say collectible, but I mean you want to have a library for your kids to pull from. That I'm not an avid reader. I don't do well with the visual component of it. I do much better with the auditory component of it.
Okay.
But for kids' books, you want it in your hand. And I think that the illustrations, which are phenomenal, you want them to see it.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And it sparks their own creativity and curiosity. It really does. It's so important to have books available for children. I know we were talking about the whole Kindle thing, but there's something about the physicality
the physical book.
of holding the book in your hand, looking at the pictures, and then it just absolutely stimulates their creativity as well.
Yeah.
I see what you have in the back, the fact page.
Yes.
Do you want me to ask you?
Go ahead.
You know? All right.
You're going to ask me a fact about what, a sea turtle or a manatee?
A manatee is sometimes called a what?
Porpoise.
Right.
Is it right?
No.
Okay, a dolphin?
Now those two are closer. No, a sea cow.
Sea cow.
I wonder if they're
Should be
offended
multiple
by
choice.
that term, but I don't know.
What,
They're
the manatees?
They are very loud, very large, but
They
they're
are.
also so gentle.
Extremely.
I saw one time when I was 12 years old out on a sailboat off the coast of South Carolina, and it did scare me as a 12-year-old
They're
out there
massive.
with another 12-year-old because they're massive.
Very
Who does
docile.
The manatee used to be what they think was mermaids. The old seafarers would see manatees and actually think they were seeing mermaids.
Those must have been some skinny manatees then.
Who does
Think of how long they were on those boats for.
Who does the
Yeah, there you go. And what they were actually seeing.
I feel like I'm being ignored here, ladies. Who does the illustrations? You do the
Actually, no, the illustrations
How about I
are
read
done
it by Randy?
by
Says it
a
on the
very
book.
dear friend of mine who is also a neighbor. And she's extremely talented, as you can see. The illustrations are really lovely.
Yeah, and I'm lucky that a lot of times when they have their book signing, they both are
come.
there.
Yeah. So
that's nice.
Speaking of Randy's, Annette, has Randy from Sanibel ever come over and signed books? What's the
Randy Wainwright?
Yes.
No,
he's
I
too
think I'm
secretive,
just a
huh?
little, yeah, and I think I'm just a little small for him. I mean,
Well,
when he does
Hey,
it,
you're
he
never-
does it on his restaurant, I mean, he has to have a whole
Security.
system set up.
Oh,
You know.
please. We've
I mean,
invited
it's
him
a
on
big thing.
We've invited him on the show and he's rejected us. He said he's just said no, nothing else, no
no.
explanation
Wow.
why or anything.
Wow.
I guess when you're a big star like that, you don't need piddly little shows like ours.
Well, he does so much. I
He
mean,
does?
besides writing the books, you got to understand he travels a lot. He has nonfiction books on his fishing travels around the whole United States. He went to Cuba
Wow.
when
wow.
Cuba was open. So he has a lot of irons in the
I
pot,
know.
as
I
they
think you
say.
should always care about the little people like
Yeah.
us.
Oh,
I care about the
please.
little
I
people.
agree.
And I
I
sell a
agree.
lot of his books. So you
Nice.
really should come to my store.
Yeah, no kidding. We should burn his books if he doesn't come to your store. No, I'm kidding. So, who's the biggest, other than obviously our guest today? Who's the second biggest star you've ever had signing books at your Nook? Do you sell coffee at your Nook?
I do not sell coffee.
Good, because coffee's bad for you anyway.
I don't like coffee.
Yeah. Uh,
I don't even like the smell of coffee.
well, we're sitting right next to a big giant coffee machine,
I
so
know.
I'm sure it's driving you crazy. So, have you had somebody, else
I
come through, cruise through, and wanna?
well, I haven't had book signers, big book signers, but I've had authors come through.
Yeah. Like
Coulter, Mrs. Coulter, she came
Ann
through.
Coulter?
No, not Ann Coulter, Catherine Coulter.
Oh, okay, her sister.
Well, Ann is her sister.
Oh, they are
Yeah,
sisters.
they
I
are
was just making
sisters.
that up.
No,
Very nice.
she does have a sister.
So,
But they're not the same people though.
Okay.
Not Ann Coulter,
Okay.
but she does have a sister.
totally confused, but
But she's come through and said hi. And I've had a couple other authors when they were on vacation, they'll stop in and say hi. I had Bobby Smith, who's an older romance author. She actually came by and she signed all my old used paperbacks
wow.
because she said maybe it'll help you sell them. And so they've come in and they've been really nice and introduced themselves and
I
stuff.
imagine people during the pandemic, that would be one activity that could really take a
What?
jump.
Book
is
signing?
reading.
Is
It's
reading.
reading, right?
Yeah.
You don't need a
Book
pandemic to
signing.
read, dear. I mean,
I know, but
You can learn to
people
read.
have
It's
more
not that
time
hard.
on their
Yes.
hands.
Right.
And so
And they have I've had customers tell me it's the only thing that's kept them sane is to be able to come and get a book and when they're stuck in
yeah,
the house.
is the
and-
romance novel still a big genre?
no.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
No, yes. Of course
It
it is,
still
dear.
is.
What a dumb question.
And
that was.
now that the
No bells for that one.
pay stations are buying rights to so many books,
Who is?
like Netflix and Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Podcast, too.
Yeah,
Podcast,
they're-
too.
So the
What-
romance is going up because
Yeah.
Julia Quinn just did the Bridgerton series and it was on
Oh, yeah.
TV.
Yep.
Now
Netflix.
everybody's coming in for her books.
Yeah.
Never heard of that one, but
It's new. It's not something I would
Chicky
think you
stuff?
would watch. Yeah.
Very much so.
So have you written any other children's books? Are these your
I
two?
actually have
Oh.
several manuscripts that I'm working on in conjunction
what?
with
Turtles, frogs? What else?
Horses.
Well, I'm trying.
You're an avid
Scorpions.
equestrian.
Ah, look at you
actually,
doing the research last night.
No, right here. I got it.
Yeah, actually, I am. Yep, I've written all of my life and shown professionally. Currently, I'm actually volunteering at the Naples Therapeutic Riding Center,
Oh.
Awesome.
and that has been phenomenal.
Wow.
Absolutely love working with that dynamic. But yeah, I've written animal stories in general for a very long time, and I do have quite a collection of manuscripts that I'm hoping perhaps will turn into maybe a wildlife miniseries.
Wow. Like
Nice.
on what? Netflix or Hulu or,
Oh wow, boy! Then
Wow.
I really arrived.
Or
if
you-
I was-
or like YouTube or
I mean, I thought that Barnes and Noble was arriving,
Ah,
but Netflix.
Ah. there you-
That's
you go.
That's Hollywood status. But yeah, I actually do have a couple of things in the works, and my next one actually
She's
is
being
about
so secretive, dear.
I
It's
know,
like
that's
it's
right.
a little alligator.
Ah.
So
I'm looking forward
trying
to that.
do it a little bit more of a Florida
so you're
Right.
locale.
So you're moving away from the friendly kind of animals and you're going to the attacking kind of mean.
each of the books does have a
reptiles.
lesson in them.
Ah.
So
Stay away from the
we'll
gators
start
will
at-
be the lesson
there
of
you
that
go.
book.
There
Yeah.
you go. All the do's and don'ts when you see one.
Now, Annette, what sells more, fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Fiction sells more. Well, I mean, I guess if you buy a political book now, you should consider it fiction because none of them are truthful as it is. So, do
Yeah.
you separate your aisles by fiction, nonfiction?
I do. Actually, I separate my aisles by romance, mystery, fiction, nonfiction, espionage.
Okay.
Ah.
Do you have a section for insurrection where you put all the Trump books, or how does that work? I'm
don't have to
kidding.
answer.
I'm kidding. I don't.
So so we don't miss that opportunity. Where is it located? What are your hours? How can people find you?
Well, I'm at the south end of the island
Okay.
in Santini Marina Plaza. It's 7205 Estero. And my hours, I'm open at this time of the year 7 days a week.
Wow.
From 10 to 5 on Monday through Friday, and then 10 to 4 on Saturday, and 10 to 3 on Sunday.
Wow.
But off season, when things slow
Different.
down, I actually take Sunday off.
Nice. What do you do when you take Sunday off? You read?
I read.
Yeah. What is your like? Who do you read the most? Like your favorite author?
My favorite author is Kate Morton.
Okay.
You would have known that if you had read
I
your
love Kate
research.
Morton, dear. Jeez. What does she write about?
She actually writes she's fiction, and she writes in two voices usually. It's somebody in the present and somebody's story in the past, and somehow throughout the book they intertwine. So it makes it interesting, and I've introduced her to a lot of my customers.
Really?
Yeah.
So do you
Not
have
like personally,
Not
but
like
just
personally,
to read
just
the
her
book.
dear,
book.
get with the book lingo, dear. So do you belong to a book club, like where you get around with a group of maybe on Zoom now, or but how does that work?
I don't.
Okay.
I
That sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? In a book club, like what would you talk about in a book
My
club?
girlfriend has a book club.
What do you do?
I
in
was
a
gonna
book
say
club?
there's a few book clubs on the south
Yeah,
end of the
actually
island during
yeah.
season. The condos themselves, like some of the
Yeah.
different members.
What do
in
they
the
do? They
condos.
just talk about like
They read
a
the
book
book
they're
and
reading.
then they talk about the book, and I think
Because-
a lot of them eat and drink.
Oh,
Yes,
that too. Yes.
typically
I didn't know that.
And,
Well, maybe
you
I should
know,
join one.
they do.
Somebody will read something in a book and have a totally different opinion than somebody
Right,
else.
exactly.
And it's interesting to hear their opinions or hear something that they've seen or read that they see it a different way.
Right.
And it makes you see the book a different way. And some people actually tell me they reread the book afterwards
Yes.
because they want to know how the other person came up with their thoughts.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't.
They're
Once I
actually
read a
very
book, I'm
popular.
ready to go on to the next book. I don't think I've ever analyzed it with anyone. It's just, do you? What is your routine? Do you analyze it with people or?
Well, I do because, of course,
Yeah.
I have to sell them. So,
Right.
Right.
Okay.
you
Well,
know, when
yeah.
people will come
Okay.
in a
Come
lot
on.
of times and
Dumb
ask me what
question.
I've read, what I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then I learn too what to buy for the store by them telling me
Yes.
Right.
what
What
they've
they're
read and
interested
what
in.
they've enjoyed.
Perfect.
Because, I mean, I may read a lot, but I can't read every book out there. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Hardcover or paperback sell more?
paperback sell more.
Really? I
People-
never bought a paperback book. Always hardcover.
Well,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
most people here on the beach, first of all, if they're traveling,
Again, right.
Yeah.
they don't want to carry the hardback.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They don't
'Cause
want
it's
to.
too heavy?
It's too heavy.
That's silly.
Yeah. And
What is the weight
Paperbacks.
difference between a hardcover and a paperback book?
I don't know. I've never stood on a scale with one. Sorry.
Venturing a
I
guess, probably not
apologize.
that
I think it's
different.
just convenience. Easier
Yeah.
to stuff
Right.
the paperback in a
Yeah.
purse than a
Right.
hardcover.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And the
So,
price. I mean, the difference
Yes.
between a $9 paperback
big
and a
difference.
$27 hardback.
Hmm.
is,
price is no option for me when I'm reading. I just feel like it's challenging my brain, which
I
needs a lot of
actually
challenging.
prefer a hardcover in
Yeah.
my hand. To be
Yeah,
honest. I think just the whole.
When
I
she,
don't know,
this
substance.
is somewhat personal, but when she asked me to get rid of all my books, it was almost as bad as her asking me to get rid of all my trophies from when I was a kid. I almost cried, but after a
the
while they
point
just
is-
take up space, and
I
you
know,
think,
but
what?
you
It's
want to
never gonna.
recycle them.
Yeah,
I didn't say get
it's
rid
great
of, but
to pass it on.
yeah. And so, do people, if they buy a book, then and they come back in, do they donate it to you, or do you buy it back from people? How
Well,
does
we
that
always take donations,
work? right,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
but we do have a trade-in policy where people can bring their books in. They'll get some credit to then use to purchase my other books.
Right.
And that's how I get my used inventory.
I think the
Interesting.
great thing about what Annette is doing is that it gives people an opportunity to go places if they can't. Books take you places.
Oh, yeah.
They really do. I
Mhm.
mean, not only does it just engage your own creativity and your own thought process, but it can take you places that perhaps you couldn't go. So I think it's absolutely fantastic to still have those bookstores to go in and to get material to read, learn, and grow, even if you can't actually be there.
I agree with that 100% because a lot of the times the two of us are home alone and I'll grab the book and I can't get to a different place faster than the book
If only
takes me
I
there.
could really, really transport you there, then we
Right,
would have
right,
it.
right.
Then we'd have a lock on it.
There you go.
We
Okay.
might make it another 26 at
Now,
that
there
point.
are
you
a couple
go.
children's books that actually do that. No.
Yeah. Well, Annette, thank you both for
Well,
coming
yes,
down.
thank
We
you
wish we
for
could have
having
you
us,
on the
for
whole hour.
having
If you
us.
ever need me to come down and sign books, I'm happy to do it. I'll just sign my name
have
on
to
any
write
book you
one.
want. Oh,
There
I have
you
to write one.
You have
I
to
didn't know
write
that
you
was
have to
there.
write one first.
I didn't know
Have
you
to
had to
write
write
one
one
first.
first.
There you
But thank
go.
you guys, and we'll see you at Santini. They call it Santini
Fabulous.
Marini Plaza now.
Santini Marina Plaza.
Did they add the
Marina.
marina in there at some point? or-
Marina, yeah, because it's the marina in the back.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And there's a
You
big
really
fashion.
have to leave breadcrumbs for him with stuff like that. So.
There's a big fashion show going. Did you know that the big fashion show is going on down there at 11 o'clock?
11 o'clock.
Yeah, for the Community Foundation, which does great
That's
things
awesome.
for the community.
That's
So
Yeah.
we'll see you down there. We'll
Yes,
stop in the
all
Nook
right.
for a cup of coffee.
Thanks
No, you
again
won't.
for having me.
Thank
You
you.
stop in the Nook for a book.
That's right. Big hand
Got
for Annette and Claire for coming by
Thank
from
you
our
so
artificial
much.
audience. They were wonderful. And check out the kids' books. Check out the book Nook when you're down at Santini Marina Plaza, which